We are going to discuss Mrs. Kimberly Sears Allers' article entitled Strong Black Woman Backlash. Are black women unintentionally contributing to the breakdown of the black family? Okay, I will begin reading the article for you. Recently, I had an epiphany. It was actually more like a frightening realization, to be honest. It came to me on the television set of a BET taping of all places. During the taping, I was sitting next to a young black male who was just singing his mama's praises. He spoke lovingly about how she raised him as a single parent, giving tough love and setting high expectations. Then, he began to talk about how when his father left, his mother, quote unquote, didn't miss a beat, and they just got on with their lives. This struck me. I interrupted him gently to remind him that this was just what he saw or what his mama allowed him to see, and that he didn't know what happened when his mama when he went to sleep or when his mama was alone. She may have cried for hours about the loss of the breaking up of the family and the divorce and how hard it is on her. The problem with what this young man saw is that he was left with the impression that his father left the family and there were no consequences, no repercussions. This is dangerous thinking for our young black men, and in my opinion, dangerous behavior on our parts as black women. My fear is that strong black woman syndrome is unintentionally breaking down our families and creating a dangerous legacy. I know saying this is tantamount to heresy, given our proud history of carrying the black family. But what if our history and our future are at odds? You see, I too was caught in the strong black woman syndrome when my husband left my family 2 years ago. I thought too that I was doing the best for my children by putting up a strong front, by telling them I was fine, by crying every time that they turned their heads because I didn't want them to see me. I acted strong. Even when I had no clue how I would maintain, having recently left my 6-figure job to launch my dream business. On this day, sitting next to this young black man, it became clear to me that I was doing my child a great disservice, and perhaps millions of black women like me were doing the same thing. On that day, I realized that I did not want my son to think that when a man walks away from his family, everything will be fine. I didn't want him to ever even consider that there is no impact when a husband or father abandons his responsibilities. Even when a father is still present and involved, we as women grieve the loss. We feel the loss. On that day, I began to share with my son in an age-appropriate way that we are hurting and forever changed by his dad's departure. Yes, I was hurting, but guess what? We will survive. But guess what? We have a few scars from that loss. Then it occurred to me that perhaps, just perhaps, black women across the country are doing themselves and future generations more harm than good with our strong frontitis. What happens when everyone thinks we can handle anything, shake anything off, and we don't care? I am also now unequivocally convinced that my husband can walk away or be negligent about child support because he knows I got this, and he knows that I'll do what it takes to make it happen if I don't have it. After all, isn't that what I've been doing for all of these years? And when our men see us as strong black women, who handle everything thrown at our way. And we always give a, I don't need that shit. When we send a message that we don't need our black men, that our children don't need them. And you know this is farthest from the damn truth. We are shooting ourselves in the foot and damaging our families. Are we shooting ourselves in the foot and damaging our families with our strength? What happens when a generation of young black boys and girls are raised by women and show no consequence to a fatherless family? Who tell their children, thinking that it's in their best interest, that we don't need that? Who tells their children, thinking that it's in their best interest, we don't need that so and so? And what about how we damaging ourselves? When we perpetuate the dangerous myth of black women, we are damaging ourselves. When we perpetuate the dangerous myth that black women are headstrong, they never feel anything, they tireless, they unshakable, and we do not allow ourselves to be whole human beings with a full suit of emotions. Some of these emotions, which we as humans are entitled to experience, include being vulnerable, needy, for lack of a better word, and scared shitless. We have a right to be that. We are not machines. Sojourner's Truth ain't our woman speak. Show comes in the mind. Sojourner Truth ain't I as a woman. The Sojourner's Truth ain't I as a woman speech. Show does come to mind when I think about this issue. I don't know if I had an answer. But I know that black women need to reclaim our womanness, our femininity, our right to be damsels in distress. We have a right to be the weaker vessel if we even want to. Sometimes we do need help, and sometimes things aren't okay. I also know black families are in serious crisis. We spent a lot of time analyzing and pointing the finger to the other side of the gender line. Much of that is deserved, but maybe, just maybe, we can spend a little time thinking about the person behind the other four fingers. Our families are worth the thought, don't you think?